Okay, so in this video, I'm going to give you some tips for speaking to the camera. Now, why am I uniquely qualified to do that? Because that's what I do for my job. Not really here on YouTube. As you see, I don't have that many subscribers. I'm not a professional YouTuber, but I work as a UGC ad creator. Not just a UGC content creator, I also strategize, create ads, script them, deliver them, or I find creators, connect companies with creators, that fit that target demographic and get them to create the videos, and then I get those edited, deliver them. Maybe you've actually seen some of them online. I'm definitely out there in the wild. So if you do see me, if you have seen me out there, let me know. I get messages all the time on Instagram from people from high school. They're like, hey, I saw you in this ad. But anyways, so the point of this video is for me just to share some of the knowledge that I've acquired over the last few years about best practices to speaking to a camera, so that maybe you can find what technique, what method works best for you, so you can create better videos, whether you're a business owner or a YouTuber or just like talking to the camera. These will for sure help you and help you categorize the different ways of doing it and decide which one's best for you. Now, the very first one is just speaking to the camera freeform. That's basically what I'm doing right now, though I'm going in and I'm editing out a bit of the pauses where maybe I lose, a train of thought and I mess up. I'll go and I'll just edit that out, and there's just, 4 or 5 cuts, but believe me, that can get pretty taxing, though. If you're not good at speaking on camera, you can have to go back in and spend like 40 minutes editing all of the pauses and, the little things that you mess up saying. Even this video, I could probably clean it up a little bit more than I'm going to. But because I'm decent enough, I've done this enough, I'm comfortable just leaving in some of my mistakes. And, it is what it is. I will say that is probably the rarest kind of thing that somebody can do. Even myself, I can kind of barely do it. There's people that can come on and they can do like the whole video up until now where they haven't, made one mistake or one or one pause or one cut or anything. So don't feel bad if you can't do that. It's very, very rare. So I wouldn't try to do this necessarily. If you feel up for it, give it a shot. Maybe you're one of those people that can do it. I would say in my experience, it's maybe 10, 15% of people can naturally do that. I was never one of them. I've developed enough to get as good as I am now, but I'm still not a natural at it. Okay, number 2 is a teleprompter. I got one of these because I tried this method out for a while, and I'll tell you, for some people, I believe it would really work. And for those people that I think this would work best for I don't mean to be offensive, but I feel like older people can do this better, because older people, like they kind of like are really self-conscious and like they're a little bit worried about like how they're speaking because they maybe grew up watching people like on television speaking a lot. So they're maybe not comfortable making mistakes and talking more naturally. So it just doesn't come natural to them to speak on camera. Obviously, I'm totally generalizing here, and leave a comment about how that's totally horrible for me to do, but it is what it is. Younger people, for sure, some people just gravitate towards that as well. I would say for me, why I don't do it is like you can kind of notice, and for me, it's just hard reading. Like I can't naturally do it. Like if I'm doing it, I focus and I'm reading, and I can't focus on like just giving kind of some emotion and some personality into it. And it's like, for me, I feel like that's more important. But if you can't do that naturally, then that is better than nothing. It's more than better than nothing. It's good. It's a good way to do it. If you can do it and you can read a teleprompter, which in the same way is a skill, in the same way that just freeform is a skill, that's another skill that you can develop. You can get better at it, and you can learn to do it in a way that you can still give a pretty good amount of emotion and range of speech, and not just sound like a robot. And I guess one thing that I need to get into, is scripting, right? Because you need to figure out if you need a script or if you don't need a script. Now, I feel like I'm just tooting my own horn here because I did not script this, because it's something that I'm just intimately just familiar with. I just know this stuff so much, I don't need a script. But if it's anything that I am not super, super well versed with, like I need to have a script. And if it's maybe a little bit more complex and I'm maybe wrestling with some ideas, like I have a YouTube channel where I talk about video games and story and characters, and sometimes I need to write that stuff down to really make it all coherent because I'll ramble a little bit too much. So you need to figure out with whatever type of video you're making, do you need a script? Do you not need a script? There's a couple of different ways you can go about with a script, right? Because if you have the script, you can read it off the teleprompter. Or what you can do, and what I do, is I'll just have my computer right here. I have my computer, and I'll type out my scripty, and I'll put it right here, and I'll just read like the first line or two, and I'll memorize it. And it's okay if I don't say it perfectly, but I'll deliver the line that was there. I'll kind of get the gist of it, and then I'll stop, and then I'll read the rest of it, and then like I'll try to do as much as I can. So it's maybe not word for word, and then you'll get like jump cuts because I'm cutting in between when I'm checking. Or if I have B-roll, I'll just put B-roll over it. Or I'll jump in with the camera, I'll like zoom in a little bit, backing out, so you won't really be able to tell that maybe there was a cut there. It'll just seem like I'm hiding it with the editing. That's something that you can do as well. So those are the basic methods, I would say. I would say you either need to decide if you have a script or you don't need a script. You need to decide if you can do freeform. That's kind of the same. Like if you can do freeform or if you can do a script. Also, some people will just be able to do bullet points. Like they'll be like, hey, this is just one subject I'm going to talk about, and then they'll go off on that, and then they'll do another subject and go off on that. They don't really do the word for word thing. But I would say you need to practice all of these, do all of them. I would say I suggested maybe not doing the freeform, but maybe try it, and then maybe try the bullet points. And then maybe if you can't do any of those and you just keep jumbling stuff up, which I do all the time, that's when maybe just go to the script. Go to the script so you can get it done and try reading it off the computer. If you can't do that, spend the $100 for the teleprompter and try the teleprompter. And maybe you'll develop your skills, your speaking skills, and you'll get better at it. And maybe you won't need those tools as much. Maybe you can use those as training wheels, and then at some point you can just be off on your own and you won't need that stuff. But that is how I would think about it as somebody that makes dozens of videos a week. I hope this was helpful for you. I'm just going to end the video here because I tend to ramble. So if I don't end it here, I'm just going to keep rambling. So hope that helped you. Let me know if it did in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you guys later.